Are you ready to party streets of Long Beach? Make some noise! Top 16, Chelsea Denofa. As well. Let's take a look at the Tuerck Drift course preview, a digital version as Dai Yoshihara.
Big angle there from Dai. Yeah, really cool. I love this rendition of Long Beach. Super accurate. You can see our first touch and go coming into that outside wall. Now, right there, that's our first outside zone. That's to get in the zone. Here is our outside zone number 2. Really important zone to set up this second touch and go here, where the judges want to see the butt of the car in that area. And what that does is allow you to get the right arc, the right angle through that inside clip. It's the one and only inside clip, and it's the one and only part of this track that doesn't have a wall that requires you to drive right up next to it.
Right.
So we do see a lot of compression in that section of the course.
This
and
is critical.
these are the sectors that the judges have laid out. Obviously, we've got 30 points for line and angle, 40 for style, and that is the way they are broken down. Kind of a little bit of a different points allocation. You got 6 points and 7 points for sectors 1 and 2, and then 7 for sector 3, 4, and 5, each 5 points each. So that is your overall layout here at the streets of Long Beach.
And here's Aasbo earlier in practice, Ryan. I was running around here, but look at this. Doink. Hit that back end. It whipped him in. Hit that front end.
I mean, under 100, yeah, okay, but you know, you usually see within 40, 50 points. That's striking distance, yeah.
Who's in the game? Who's dropping a quarter in that video game ready to play? Hey, by the way, Sammy Hubinette's in the building here as Matt Field goes into our first little touch and go there. Woo! There it is. Now into the zone, auto zone, in outside zone, into the second, through that sweeper. Here's that second touch and go that we talk about, into the one and only Peninsula front clip, and crossing that finish line. What a way to start it. Our current points leader, Matt Field, the beast from the Bay, in that Falcon Tire Drift Cave C6 Corvette. Did you hear me? I don't know if you heard that, but Sam Hubinette's in the building. He just sent me a photo. He said he can almost smell me. We can definitely smell the tires. Let's take a look at it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great to have him here. Matt Field, our first driver up here, gets that nice little initiation. Right back on throttle, pushing out to that touch and go, right up there against the wall. Good transition back around, just about maybe 8 inches, maybe 6 inches off outside zone 1, a little bit off outside zone 2, but doing a really good job overall as we get into this final section here. Slightly off that final inside clip as he comes through the finish line. This will be a good start for him. Remember, trying to get as high as you possibly can on this first run to maximize positioning for these drivers. And we have seen this year, Jared, that our cutoff for the Pro Championship has kind of been in that 75-point range. And obviously, if we have a 32-car field, everybody that gets a score will make it through, but we still have some outside stories to tell. We did see a few wrecks in practice, so we've got a lot more drifting left to go.
Interesting enough, during the drivers' meeting this morning, the judges chose an ideal representation of a qualifying run, and that was actually Matt Field's run back in 2019. He scored a 99. So a near perfect run. That was all the way back in 2019, almost 2.5 years ago, as I described when we kicked off the show. 2 years, 5 months, and 2 weeks to be exact. And that's when we, again, Matt Field put down a 99 in qualifying. And it does bear repeating as well, no points at stake in qualifying. This is all about where you rack, where you go as far as bracket. And there is a score of 94. That is a 94, Matt Field. So what happens here with a powerful score like that, he can chill, he can kick back. He is guaranteed a spot. I mean, there's not going to be 31 drivers that are, or 26 drivers theoretically that are going to get higher scores than him. So,
and 94, it has historically this season been a top 5 score,
right,
and definitely a top 10. I remember 93 was the most popular score at a couple rounds this year. So. Right. We've seen a lot of tiebreakers, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and just going back to that style. Speaking of style, turn it to 11, Chelsea Denofa in the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5. See how he handles the touch and go. Brings it all the way out there. Look at a long drag there. How is it going to fare for him? Hits that back end of in the zone. That outside zone 2 now. Quick little touch and go, hit it and quit it. I liked how he executed that final front clip, but Ryan, take note of how he goes out that touch and go, and it seemed like he hung on to it a little bit long. Little Jack never let go Titanic moment there as we sit right next to the ocean, but it didn't set him up properly for the first outer zone. Take a look. What are your thoughts?
Well, we have to remember that the touch and go is just as it sounds. You touch and go at any part of that zone. Now, he gets real close out there, but he does have a little bit of a hiccup, and you can see he got into that second, the first official outside zone, maybe a little bit later than he wanted to. Yep. But again, very stylish here from Chelsea Denofa, pushing extremely hard. He's had a strategy this year at different rounds. I'm not sure if he's continuing that strategy, but this is the kind of driving that I think we really want to see. Even if you make these little mistakes, you're pushing so hard, and you're really giving the judges an opportunity to say, you know what, as far as style and fluidity are concerned, maximum points. Yeah, you might have got a little deduction here for line and angle, but we love that you're pushing the pace and really giving us a good show.
Yeah, like I said, with all great points. You talk about strategy as far as qualifying. What Ryan is talking about is potentially qualifying lower so you could be on maybe the right side of the bracket, go against higher qualifying drivers. That way you kind of clip off, get it out of the way, and then you start knocking off higher qualifying drivers. In theory and theoretically, you're taking out who are contenders in the championship. Wow, look at that, a 96. A 96 from Chelsea Denofa. And so look at this, line, angle, style. So I guess the judges really liked, and the angle that we saw with our naked eye, it looked like he hit that outside zone a little later than I thought and anticipated. All right, now, like I said, Frederic Aasbo, and we saw it earlier, him in practice, hit the wall, spun him in, and here is minus the headlights. Fortunately, daytime event, but you do need taillights in order to compete. Make sure that drivers can see when you're slamming on those brakes. But here goes Frederic Aasbo, the Rockstar energy drink. Toyota Racing GR Supra. See how he handles it. Out to that touch and go. Definitely digs deep. Getting all the way to the outside zone. Getting the gold member in the zone, the second outside zone. Quick little touch and go there. Again, that's a touch and go. Tight to that front clip, Ryan. I really love starting from the top and working our way down. I think this is a good testimony of what to expect from other drivers that are potentially lower in ranking can look and say, oh, okay, got it. That's a 96, noted. You know what I mean? And the spotters are in their ear saying, yo, go here, go there. Yeah,
and we see that kind of the cosmetic damage that happened to Aasbo's vehicle. It doesn't seem to have had any effect on his performance whatsoever. You can see he does have a lot of angle, and it's a much different looking at it without that front part of his vehicle attached to it. And as he gets into that touch and go, he kind of sets himself up pretty well here for a nice smooth arc around that final inside clip. Taking a look out here, going to the touch and go, maximum angle, but still staying on throttle and getting a smooth transition from touch and go 1 to outside zone 1 and continuing that momentum to the second outside zone. A very fluid line, aggressive driving, and I think this is definitely going to be up there. These last 2 runs from Denofa and Aasbo have just been really phenomenal overall, and you can see pushing the pace right out there. Maybe could have been a little bit closer to that wall. That looked like maybe the distance that I think Field was away or something in that area, so might have left a point or 2 on table, but as far as style is concerned, that was incredible.
It's so amazing. Look, 97, a 97, so the plot thickens. Yeah, so the wall might have taken, kind of like, man, his car took some damage, but you should see the wall, because obviously it didn't phase him too much. Look at that, 29, 29, 39. So 1 point in each of the criteria. Again, 30, 30, 40 is the ideal scenario, but Freddie with a solid 97. Currently our #1 qualifier out of our top 3 drivers. Plenty of drivers to go, so much action to see. Shanny Pants, his wife, watching at home, cheering on her man Ryan Tuerck from Derry, New Hampshire. The Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. He's on Nitto tires, wrapping around those rotiform wheels. Ryan Tuerck, like I said, back in 2019, a interesting turn of events for him, kicking off the season, debuting a new, not a new build, but a build for him, this being round 1. Took it hard on the wall, a scary moment for him, but obviously a contender, a real contender for a championship. Would love to do it. Here we go. Ryan Tuerck, outside touch and go, that hot hatchback sliding in. A little bit off of that first outside zone, into the second. Definitely digging deeper on the second. Let's see how he handles touch and go. I have a feeling he's gonna wrap it around nice and tight, put a bow on it. Really likes the inside clip there, Ryan. But of course, could have been a little bit closer, and that's always gonna stand out under the bridge. That first outside zone, let's take a look at it again here, Ryan.
Well, Ryan Tuerck right here really got super deep to that second outside zone, Jared, and good fluidity back around, right into the get in the zone, outside zone #1, right there, scraping the bumper on that outside zone 2. Good transition, smokes us out up here, and then right through that inside clip. He got a lot closer than I've seen from the first 3 drivers, and I'm not exactly sure. We'll verify with the judges whether or not getting up right up against the wall or 6 inches off is still the maximum number of points. Maybe in outside zone 2 he pushed a little bit wide, so line might be a little bit affected there, but Tuerck is doing all the right things. He's getting super close to the wall. He's not leaving any open questions, and that's what you want from a driver.
Showing up, putting events in the past, but it's all about just keeping your mind right. As I said, 2019, Ryan, if you can remember, I brought it up. I don't know if you heard me. I was talking about, remember when he took it hard on the wall, rode off his car, comes back, fights back a car that was just a demo car. They had to modify that to be a comp car, and he wins in New Jersey, which is essentially his home, would be considered his home track, closest to his home state. Just family and friends there, and I think that was the defining moment for him of, just dealing with unfortunate circumstances, battling through, getting the team together, all hands on deck, and producing some results. I think that's just always a great testimony to a dynamic driver.
When you take a big wreck like that, psychologically can have a super negative impact on how you move forward, but he really true gritted himself and along with his team put it together, and right now he's sitting in position #4 with the 94.
Yeah, a 94 there for Ryan Tuerck, the rockstar driver, putting it together. Look at that perfect angle. So like I said, 26 out of 30 on line, so definitely leaving some points on the board. Talk about another gentleman that is just always knocking on the championship's door, Aurimas Bakchis. Had a good time with him just last week in Grid Life at Gingerman Raceway. The Falcon Tire driver, Falcon Tire field suspension, Vortex Supercharged S15. Let's see what we got here. Odi, originally from Lithuania, now living here in Southern. Comes in all the way out there, bashes the bumper, swings it back. Second outside zone. He already damaged that back left corner. Let's see how he brings it in. Kind of a sweep and then brings it in tight to that inside clip, Ryan. So absolutely bashing that back left in the touch and go, absorbing some heat, and then coming into the first outside zone of the bridge, getting the zone. Doesn't get all the way in the zone. Here we are again.
Yeah, he has been challenging not only himself as a driver, but definitely challenging the entire field. At the beginning of the season, once again came out so hot, cooled off for a little bit, but right there goes up against the wall, has to make a slight little adjustment, but Odi Bakchis tearing it up down here on the streets of Long Beach, doing an incredible job maximizing and pushing hard in the areas where there's a lot of points on the table. And so maybe that little issue that he had right here on the touch and go, it's going to be a slight deduction, but notice he handles it really well. He doesn't let the car come unstuck too much. He doesn't adjust the wheels in such a way where it'll be a major deduction. So good save there by Odi Bakchis.
Thank you to all our workers, as Ryan described earlier, that, you know, the walls, not dynamic because, you know, you're obviously going to see some calamity, see some carnage, but more of it defines the limits of where the cars can go. You know, you start getting these gray areas of like, okay, can I do a dirt drop? There's no dirt here. Okay, can I knock over a cone? There's no cones here. There's only one cone, the final inside clip. Outside of that, you got walls, baby, and they are not going anywhere. So speaking of all the carnage and all the body parts, I want to thank the Cal Club, all the Cal Club out here in white on the corners grabbing, you know, obviously flying some flags. If it's a yellow flag, you got some cautions. We'll see more of those tomorrow, obviously. And again, all the folks, the corner workers in white. And here we go with an 89. An 89 there for Odi Bakchis, an 89 for Odi. So still a very respectable score. I want to thank Marwin for all of our gear, Marwin for providing all of the Formula Drift gear. Thank you to Brian Rock and Marwin. Thank you so much. Cheers, brother. As we are warming up the tires of Vaughn Gittin Jr., our defending champion. And Ryan, you're talking about the points earlier. Vaughn Gittin Jr. back there with 394. I mean, darn near impossible to grab a championship. I mean, Matt Field with 485. I mean, our top, essentially our top 5 drivers would need to just absolutely, you know, DNF this event in order for him to jump up there. Shout out to Finch. What's up, Finch? Watching over in Spain. Thanks for watching. Always a fan. As Vaughn Gittin Jr., the other RTR Mustang, starts through the chicane. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Mustang RTR. Touch and go. Let's see what kind of go he's got. He definitely touched it. Into the zone. Transitioning. Massive angle here, Ryan. Coming out with guns ablazing. Really tights that inside clip. Oh man, you gotta love it. Vaughn Gittin Jr. just the echoing through the streets of Long Beach. People coming out in their balcony. Come on out, people.
Yeah, he's been really fun to watch in his championship year. Before his follow-up championship year, had some really crazy moments, and you know, lots of moments that people talked about for many weeks after the event. And here in Long Beach, he loves his course, starts off strong, does a great job on that touch and go, taps the wall, super close to outside zone 2. Good transition here. Doesn't quite get out to that touch and go, and so you can see the line that he drew to that inside clip kind of pushed him out a little bit wider than maybe he wanted to. A little bit more of a weaker arc there, but as we take a look at the drone, Jared, you'll see he gets that nice early initiation. He's right back on throttle through that first turn, pushes out wide to the touch and go. You can see those red lines painted on the wall, and then as he comes through the bridge, kind of eyes up this second outside zone and gets right there next to the wall. Just maybe that last little section of the touch and go could have been a little bit better there, but overall, strong performance for Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Yeah, that gray area of that second touch and go area coming, and that's really going to come into play. I mean, obviously here in qualifying, but really going to come into play, and it has over the years with head-to-head competition, because when they transition off that second outside zone, some drivers tend to flick it a little earlier and really try to hang it out there, and some just are right in the middle, and some are a little bit later, cutting that apex. So it's take note. Here we go with a 90. That's a 9-0 for Vaughn Gittin Jr., the defending champion, piloting his Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5. It's got the Type S lights running. Can't see them right now. It's obviously daytime. Type S, our presenting sponsor. And here we go with a pedal commander burnout box. We are seeing Wataru Masuyama, the Buy Now Japan Sylvia S15 from Yamanashi, Japan. The S15 rose to the occasion in St. Louis. Would love to see him step up. And Ryan, you've talked about it, about his driving here in the States, not reflective of how he drives in Japan. So get this car dialed. I feel like it's because he gets a Gushi. See the progression. Masuyama comes out to the outside zone. Comes up a little bit short, but definitely not on. He gets in all of the zone of the first one, but the second one comes up a bit short, a little shallow. Some corrections there to wrap it around that inside clip. Ryan just, oh, it's right there. It's right there.
Right now, he's just not at his own level. Let's just put it that way. That is not the kind of typical driving that we see, and it starts right after initiation. You can see the front end was gripping up quite a bit. He wasn't really able to get out to that touch and go. He mashes the throttle, manages to get out to outside zone 2, but you can see the car is just not fluid enough for him. Something is not right in the setup. It's not giving him the kind of, I guess, the overall fluidness and the flow that we typically see from him. His car is usually really loose. He goes lock to lock very quickly and super easily, and this time it just seems like it's a little bit more tight and kind of bounded up. So this is not going to be the greatest score in the world. It might be a passing score, you know, like you're saying.
A C, C plus.
Yeah.
That's what he's hoping for. That is what he's hoping for. Well, still with that 97 JTP going toe-to-toe with Aasbo, but getting the better, you know, going from style and then going to angle. And JTP delivering. What do we got here for Masuyama? 83. So that's actually a great score. That's a solid score. So he is locked and loaded. That will put him into place. So 4 more drivers scheduled for our broadcast in our first run and gun. There is our leaders. You can see 97 to 90 from Pollock to Hull and everybody in between. See Castro up there, Field, so they're changed out of the race suits, man. Vaughn Gittin Jr., Bakchis, Reeder, Hurst. And right now we are seeing Trenton Beechum. Trenton Beechum currently sitting 30th, the Colonex Racing Nexen Tires, Ford Mustang. And there is the cut, Ryan. So again, if we have 32 drivers, 24. So right now, Yves Meyer and Robbins would have to go if we have 32 drivers. But it's only Yves Meyer that is guaranteed if we have 32.
And you know, I think a lot of people out there have bated breath on what you mean by if, right? So we should probably get to that at some point here.
I think after Beechum will explain. Here we go. Trenton Beechum. Bated breath, love that. Trenton Beechum comes up shallow on the touch and go. Right in the middle of the road here for Beechum. Oh! Taps that wall. He gets all into the zone. Slam dances his way in. Checks up quite a bit, Ryan. And now across the finish line, loud and proud, but walk us through it. You know, come out swinging, but come up shallow on the touch and go. But when it comes to outside zone 1, shallow, but 2, he made his presence felt. Yeah,
Beechum showed a lot of maturity in St. Louis. He made some public comments to the extent of, you know what, look, I'm just not driving well enough into the abilities that I have. And I think he wants to have a good performance out here in Long Beach, but you can see he doesn't get out to that touch and go. And that right there is the start of potential problems. It's hard to make adjustments on this course, but surprisingly, he's actually able to get right out to that second outside zone. And so he's going to be able to kind of get back and draw some points back to his side of things. Unfortunately, the way that he was coming into the touch and go had him on a line that was a little bit off, and so he had to make that adjustment around the inside clip as well. I think the biggest mistake will be the touch and go area, just not being able to maximize points by getting out to the wall there. So we'll see where the judges slot this run and see if he can pass that cutoff of 74 points.
So what we were talking about, Ryan, we're talking about that cutoff. Earlier today, I got a DM from Federico Sceriffo. He is currently scheduled at 32nd, but Fedi texted me and DM'd me and said that basically He's been having a whirlwind of a travel experience. Just landed after 48 hours of trying to travel from Italy, and unfortunately just this is what's been going on. So he's literally either in his car, jumping in his car now ideally, or shortly, but he's going straight from, okay, so Beechum with a 76, he's under the cut. He will have to go again. So, again, Federico Sceriffo is next after Kenshiro Gushi, and then we'll see Ryan Litteral. So 3 vehicles left if Fetty is here for his first run.
And I see his car back there, but I think it's
has to be him.
Worth noting that he had to go back to Italy basically for COVID protocols.
Yep.
So coming back into the States, he has not practiced. He has done nothing but travel for many, many, many hours, literally driving from LAX to here to try to make this run.
There we go. Ken Gushi. It's all about Ken Gushi right now. This Ready Performance Toyota Racing GR Supra. Ryan. Kenshiro Gushi, a veteran of the sport, an absolute talent. And the Ready Toyota Gazoo Racing Supra goes hard on the wall. Ryan, I believe, incomplete.
I think that is going to be an incomplete, and unfortunately for Ken, he has had such bad luck this year with the vehicle mechanically, and his hometown track here at Long Beach, along with Irwindale, he wants a good showing, but it's not going to happen on this first run. This is one of the possible effects of just getting into the wall a little bit too deep. That bumper collapses, that left rear hits the wall, and it pushes the attitude of the car towards the wall. And that's just not going to give you momentum to move over to outside zone number 1 and finish up the run. Now, Ken does complete it, but I feel pretty confident on this one that this is going to be an incomplete.
Yeah, and that is that confirmed? Is that an incomplete there, boys? Yes, it is. We are seeing triple zeros. So unfortunately for this OG, Kenshiro Gushi, that will be an incomplete. So I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 incompletes. Now, we are hearing that Federico did make it. He is here. He is in the building. And going from, we are hearing 1 practice lap.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I made a mistake on that. He did get 1 practice lap, but that's not really saying that much.
Yeah.
You have to remember the history between him and this vehicle, and the course. Yeah, I mean, for fans that are new to the sport, that have just been coming in over the past year or so, one of the most unbelievable events happened here with Federico in 2018, I want to say, where that car literally went up in flames in turn 9.
Right there. Instead of turning right at the touch and go, he went straight through, car caught fire, and it was a scary, precarious moment. Here we go. Federico Sceriffo in the building, fresh from Italy. Fails to get all the way to the touch and go. Big, massive angle there. Comes up very shallow on that inside line. And around that final front clip line, Federico Sceriffo.
I mean, I think that man is owed a bow of respect.
Yeah.
You can see even with the troubles that he had there on initiation where the car wanted to push out to the wall, he's not able to really feel the touch and go. After he leaves outside zone 2, you can see the car gets on the wrong line. He gets right on the rumble strips. He's super tight, so he misses outside zone 2. So it's not going to be a very well-scored run. And you'll see that not getting out to that touch and go and then trying to make it over to 2, he angles up the car and the car's pointed right at the opposite wall, so he's not able to kind of continue the momentum needed to get out to outside zone 2, so he just kind of forgoes that. I mean, I don't think the judges are going to incomplete this. They might, just because of the possible of it being unchaseable, but for me, I do believe it should be scored. But he definitely
so shallow though. I mean, I love the dude, and even in that DM, he says, "I never give up, Jared, as you know."
Yes.
So that is admirable. It owes respect, but that'll be an incomplete, and that is official, Ryan.
All right.
Just taking that was way too shallow.
I know.
I think he's pulling on your heartstrings a little bit, but let's take the emotion out of it. Let's take all the stressors out of it. That is deemed an incomplete, and I agree with the judges. 5 incompletes total, and we have 1 more driver left. So again, we'll take the bottom 25. So 26 and lower will be re-racked as the less than grade 8, and we will fill the spots. Question is, one driver here that has their run will be watching from the stands tomorrow, because we have 33 drivers in total. That includes Ryan Litteral. Here we go. Ryan Litteral from Riverside, California, just down the 91. Power Stop Brakes S15 GT Radial. Here we go. Ryan running that RB Army under the hood of a Nissan S15 all the way out there, gets out the touch and go, counters back, a little shallow off that first outside. Woo! Gets all the way to that second outside zone, gets in the zone, auto zone, around the front clip. Ryan Litteral with the full pull. I'm claiming a high 80 there, Ryan. About an 87, maybe 89.
If you pinpoint on the line part of it, it's a really solid run. Like you said, a little bit shallow on the angle. I like to see him use angle to slow the vehicle down. But line-wise, he's pretty on point. Gets really close to outside zone 2. Gets to this final touch and go and positions the car pretty well through the final inside clip. Now let's take a look at it from above here. You can see it gets right out to the touch and go. Nice transition back around. The only thing that's missing, only ingredient that's missing here is just a little bit more angle. And using that angle to kind of slow the vehicle down. The judges just love to see that. But the line is on point. That's a pretty good transition. So I think you're probably right. It's going to be, mid to upper 80s.
So if Ryan Litteral gets an 80 score, our incompletes right now: Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Kearney, Josh Reynolds, Kenshiro Gushi, and Federico Sceriffo. And then in between that, drivers that have scores but are unfortunately low. Here we go with the score. And it's a 85, an 85. So coincidentally, there are 5 drivers that have incompletes and 3 drivers that are in the 70s. Those are our bottom 8. So I'm looking at this and laying it out here. The drivers with incompletes: Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Kearney. After him, I believe, unofficially, will be Yves Meyer, Alec Robbins with a 74, Josh Reynolds with an incomplete, Trenton Beechum with a 76, Kenshiro Gushi with an incomplete, Federico Sceriffo. That would equate to 8, taking our top 25, re-racking the 8, and only 7 of those 8 drivers will be in the head-to-head tomorrow.
It hasn't happened often this year. We've had events where we've had one guy miss, and so we end up with a field of 32. We've had a couple of events with bye runs, not because the guys missed, but because we've had double zeros,
right?
Or we've had mechanicals. This is, I think, first time in a couple of events where we are going to see somebody sitting out the weekend.
Yep.
I think the guys that have scores in the second run have a little bit less to worry about because they've got that backup score. The guys with the zeros, they've really got to focus on laying down a big run.
Real quick, talking about scores and runs, this is Frederic Aasbo. This is how they got that #1 spot. Initially, Frederic Aasbo came out swinging. Think Freddie early on. He's currently sitting 3rd in points. He got into the wall. You could see him sawing that front bumper, sawing the headlights, racks up a great score at 97 with a perfect style run.
Yeah,
or style score.
It's so weird to not see the Supra with the front.
Yeah.
And
JTP.
it makes you think about the run a little bit differently, but you could see why. It had all the positive attributes. Now JTP, on the other hand, his car is fully put together. He didn't have any damage in practice, but this is just stereotypical JTP. Pushing so hard and going right up to the line without going over. And he was able to do that, lay down a solid score. It's a monster run, and so congratulations to those 2 guys, the top qualifiers here.
Next up, Dean Kearney threw a power steering belt on his first run as he entered into that first outside zone. He transitioned out of the touch and go into that first outside zone. Show me what you got. Here we go. Dean Kearney. Oracle Lighting, Dodge Viper. Gotta love Carnage. Yes, sir! Woo! Okay, here we go. Dean throwing it down. Next entire smoke going all about. And that's how you do it, my friend. Not leaving it in the judges' hands. So, yes. So now with that score, if that's better than Kazuya Taguchi, bang, he's in top 32. Cannot do any better than 25th.
I think the deductions here on this run are really going to come in the form of line. Angle, I think he's doing okay with, and style with fluidity and commitment. Besides not getting out to the wall, I think the biggest deduction we're going to see is on the line side of things. And that might mean that the score is still relatively high. He starts off his run with a really big risk maneuver there. And he's not super shabby on outside zone 2, or excuse me, outside zone 1. 2 is a little bit worse, but I still feel this has a possibility of going higher than the 85, just because the driving was pretty dynamic, and the areas where it was clear that there were mistakes was in line, not so clear in other places.
That's so great. I'm talking about the paddock. It's great to see that filled. But also that line by Dean Kearney. And here we go. 87. So there you go. Ryan, get out of their heads. Just all up in their cerebellums.
It gives you confidence when that happens, but there's many times when I don't have confidence. I'm like, dude, crap, did I not pay attention in the driver's meeting?
Yeah,
what did I miss?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. But do I pay attention to drivers' meetings? Yes, I do. And I also take videos. And I take amazing videos of Larry Chen.
Eating chips, yeah.
Larry Chip. Larry Chip. I'm glad that video brought you joy.
It gave me so much joy, so much happiness. I just love it.
There we go.
It's very Larry David.
Yves Meyer on his second run. He does have a 72 that he can rest upon, but he's going to need to step it up. Some wobbling coming in there, Ryan. Out into that second outside zone. He is middle of the road. He is flirting with a lackluster score here. He is really flirting with it, Ryan.
Yeah, to me, this is another example of it's more car than driver. I don't think car is really where he wants it right now. It feels like he's kind of fighting the car a little bit. It's gripping up probably a little bit more. Notice not making very much smoke at all. So the car is not loose. And I don't think that he probably had either proper time or something happened to where during practice he wasn't really able to get the settings the way that he wanted to. So he's got those 2 scores, or he'll have 2 scores now. Question's going to be, is anybody else going to best those 2 scores? I feel like he's going to be okay.
When you say okay, like I think
he'll
be fine. But score-wise, how do you think?
What I think the number? It's going to be like it'll be like I didn't do a deep evaluation. It's probably going to be like
I'm going to say 80.
Yeah.
I'm going to say an 80. I'm going to say an 80.
Could be 81. Could be 79.
He's backing up into the drift cave. Definitely 79. Rain Man right now. Here we go. And it's a 77.
See?
77.
You got to go with your intuition.
Yeah. Yep. So Yves Meyer currently on the outside looking in. That means Taguchi and Kearney are in the show. 5 drivers left. If they score better than a 77, given that's, again, the tiebreakers. If you go a 78 or higher, Yves Meyer's on the outside. Alec Robbins, we saw him go into the wall. He hit the wall. He had that tire pop off. He did surprisingly complete a score as a 74. Here we go. Alec Robbins throws it in. Massive angle from Robbins. No. Ryan.
So that's
right.
double zeros.
No, 74. Okay. That's what I just said.
Okay.
He completed his first run on a 74. So right now,
all right, making it real clear on those tires. Tell me you thought for a second that second run was
going to be epic. Was going to be his number 1 qualifying run from St. Louis.
That's exactly what I thought.
And that's what Justin Pollock had.
Yeah.
Remember, if Justin Pollock, he had an incomplete on his first run, and he comes out and had like a 97 on his second.
Yeah, so Pollock didn't go over the edge in his run.
No.
And Robbins just went over a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you're at that line, it's easy to go over.
You're flirting with disaster. You're riding that razor's edge. We say it. Look at this. I mean, look.
So that angle could be held. As soon as he gets to there, I think it's over. Yeah.
So again, here's the scenario, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. We have 4 drivers left. Robbins does have a score in his first run. I will tell you that Beechum is already sitting on a 76. So he is guaranteed to be in the show. Beechum is guaranteed. Reynolds, Gushi, Federico. If they have an incomplete or lower than a 74, they are out. Robbins is in.
All right, I'm with you.
Cool. Josh Reynolds. And this was a driver who, talk about not driver, car, prefacing. I really like that statement, Ryan. It's not the driver, it's the car. He's had some, you know, look at both the Drift Force vehicles. They've gotten to the wall. They're not 100% comfortable. How much confidence do you have? Josh Reynolds comes in, uses all the cores, slapping it.
Oh crap.
Oh boy. As Josh Reynolds, that will be a double 0 for Josh Reynolds.
Oh no. That means any score.
That means Robbins is fortunately in.
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds is out. Beechum is in. Now Gushi, Federico, any score gets them in 32.
That was actually, and you know, man, when you have moments like that, it gets real scary real quick. I apologize if I caught you off guard.
No, you did. Yeah,
caught you off guard there. But I could see that starting to brew up. This actually wasn't as bad as it could have been. Those contact with outside zone 2. Let's take a look at it.
The front end took a heavy punch.
It did.
But as far as precariousness and danger.
So that to this part right here could have been a lot worse. We've seen cars not glance off that wall, but basically be stopped by that wall because of the angle that they were at.
Darren McNamara years ago, Ryan Tuerck, the crowd applauds Josh Reynolds that he's out of the car. Thank you, corner workers, and like you said, Darren McNamara back in the day, Ryan Tuerck 2019. Let's lay out and listen. How much confidence do you have? Josh Reynolds comes in, uses all the cores, slapping it.
Oh crap.
Oh boy. As Josh Reynolds. Yeah. Got a little zealous there, Ryan.
Yeah, I did.
You puckered up.
I did.
Well, we have 3 more drivers left. Excuse me. 3 more drivers left. I got a little verklempt there. Beechum, Gushi, Federico. Beechum is in the show. Robbins is in the show. So with that rolling burnout where he exited stage right, got a little. That's what happens.
It does. The only other time that's happened for me that I can remember is when I got attacked by a bee in FD Japan, and in the booth live, and an SH came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in myself. But I mean, literally, I was getting attacked.
Oh, Ryan, the years of memories.
Yeah.
17 plus years at the culmination of the season will be 18, and. So just think about that. 22 will be 19 years. 23, 20 years of Formula Drift. It's got to be epic, dude.
Pretty crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this event
you're
has
how
been
old now? I mean, people look it up, so just tell
41.
me. 41.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll continue on. Will Beechum take his second run? He doesn't need to. He's already in the show, and he can't do any better than 26th. So when we come back, we'll find out if he takes his run. But Gushi and Federico, it is do or die. AutoZone, the streets of Long Beach, presented by Type S. Oh, we are scuffed up, ripping, ready to roar. As a hashtag, get in the zone, AutoZone. Those are our 2 outside zones. Under the bridge is where they drew some blood or they drew some bumper and paint on the wall. So Trenton Beechum is going for his second run. He can't do any better than that of 26th. So again, we're taking 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So 26 through 32 is what we're filling. And right now, out of those drivers, an 87 of Dean Kearney, he would slide into 26th. 3 more drivers left, including this man from Agoura Hills, California, Trenton Beechum. He does have a score, which is a 76. All right, initiates into, and that's going to be shuttered down.
I kind of sense that.
Yeah.
A little bit on the approach.
Fortunately, he does have a score.
Yeah, he has a score. There's still a little bit of danger for some of the remaining guys that don't have a score, because there's still the possibility that there could be a 0-0, and that would mean that there would be a bye for the first place qualifier if that happens.
So that's where Gushi and Fedi, that's where it lands. Fedi Wap. All right, Beechum exits. 999. Ryan, so you're gonna pass on my dinner offer? You're just gonna pass, dog? It's all good. I mean, it's good. I have friends. I have friends. It's cool. It's all good. All right, we're in the Pedal Commander Burnout box with Kenshiro Gushi, the Credit Performance Toyota Racing Toyota GR Supra, born in Okinawa, Japan.
1 point gets him in. That's it.
1 point. To get 1 point, I'd love to see that run, what that would look like. You can't do it.
I don't think, no.
You can never do it.
You can't.
You can't. You literally can't do it. You're like, dink, and then just roll through the rest. No,
yeah, there's no 1 point.
You literally can't do it. So here we go. Where's he going to land? Kenshiro Gushi came in swinging in that touch and go.
Come on, buddy.
Keeps it between the lines. Nice job there under the bridge. Kenshiro Gushi sweeps through. He got in the zone. Could have been deeper, obviously.
He's in.
He's in. Claiming 74. Like are you going higher? 77?
I'm going to go a little bit higher.
77, 78?
I'm going to go 81.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So Kenshiro Gushi does get a score. He is in top 32. Unfortunately, Reynolds is going to be out. And right now, Justin Pollock is looking from the sides and saying, hey, if Fedi doesn't get in, that means he will have a bye run into top 16. One more driver after this, and we talked about Federico Sceriffo. One practice run, comes in here. Unfortunately has an incomplete, but Gushi does get a complete run. What is the score? T-minus moments before we find out. As Gushi strolls back to the pits. Remember, we are live here tomorrow. What time is that, Kemp? We are going on. Tomorrow, our live stream kicks off for our top 32. And an 83. So Ryan, nice call out there. So it looks like he will slide into that 27th spot. No, excuse me, 28th. As currently Dean Kearney has an 87, Taguchi 85, Gushi 83. And move on to Meyer, Beechum, Robbins. Here we go, our final driver of the day. And this is Federico Sceriffo behind the wheel of his Ferrari. That is the 599 GTB Fiorella. He needs a score, otherwise he is not in. He has an incomplete on his first run, comes out, like he says, he doesn't quit. You know that. Triple F Racing Department car's looking smooth, it's looking loose. Doesn't get all the way to that second outside zone, but looks like he does manage to keep it together. And Federico Sceriffo crosses that finish line. And he completes it. We will have a top 32 field, my friends.
That is quite an
Precarious.
accomplishment, honestly. I mean, you know how hard
Yes.
it can be to fly international.
Oh, yeah.
And to do what he did and get through this qualifying after one practice run is saying quite a bit. So congratulations to him getting through, getting that score. Didn't matter what it was, just needed to put one in the books. He did that, did not buckle under the pressure, and showed a lot of fortitude there. Congratulations, Fedi.
Hey, real quick, for those in the building, some Hummer H3 keys were found. Locate them in the media center. Thank you so much. Ask a Formula Drift staff member, some Hummer H3 keys. Check your pockets. So Federico Sceriffo does get a score. Where is it at? We'll find out. But let's take a look at our schedule for the live stream tomorrow. We will be live with our top 32 at 10:45. 10:45 live stream with our top 32 beginning at 11 o'clock. And waiting for Federico's score. Scores are in for Fedi. And it's a 80. That is a clean 8-0 for Federico Sceriffo. Congratulations to him. Grab some sleep. All the drivers, unfortunately, Josh Reynolds will be watching from the sidelines. Ryan, closing thoughts here, coming back. Great to see you, great to smell you, great to touch you, and excited to announce with you Long Beach. You could feel it. You could feel it coming in the air tonight. Are you ready to party streets of Long Beach? Make some noise!